Hello, hello, Ravens. How's it going? We have not had an indie dev interview in quite a while, so I'm super happy to host Kyle Berger. Yes, wave for us. He is the solo developer of Pixelot, and we love solo devs here. We do, and I'm super excited to hear all about your game. So, first, before we jump into the game itself, I am Puppet Master, and I am I guess you could call me the founder of Game Raven. And with us today is Brotuzak. Brotuzak, do you want to introduce
Hello.
yourself?
Yeah, I am Brotuzak, and I am part of Game Raven, and I also do my little streams on the side too, but we love promoting indie developers and we love indie games, so that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. And Kyle, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us all about who you are, what you do, what you've done.
Sure. So I'm just a regular guy. I'm a dad of a 1-year-old daughter, and my wife and I have been married for almost 6 years now. I work full time as a software developer, so I just do this stuff for fun. I grew up playing, games with my Game Boy Advance and DS and all that fun stuff. So I just really love the genre, so I wanted to create something of my own.
Very cool. So, what was your first game then that you ever played? Do you remember?
Oh, it had to be Pokemon Blue for sure.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
I was more
Yes.
of a red guy myself, but I can appreciate
That's
that.
what my parents gave me.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I was the same as you, Kyle. I played blue. My brother got red. Actually, he started with yellow, actually, but then he got Pokemon Red, and then I got blue. So, yeah, great stuff. Who was your starter?
Oh, I had to pick Squirtle. I mean, if you got blue,
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Plus, the first gym's way easier with Squirtle.
yeah, for sure.
Nice. That's
I just like to
awesome.
torture myself. It's okay.
Yes. We're gonna be doing our interview a little bit differently today. We instead of like doing kind of a dry interview, I am actually gonna start playing this game. I have not really jumped into Pixelot yet, so it'll be a fresh run for me. And I thought as I'm playing, you can kind of just like walk me through some of I don't know, just your thoughts, whatever. We'll keep it super organic. But before I do that, what is Pixelot? Like, tell us what in the world this game is and what made you want to make a game by yourself and how you did it. Just give us a little synopsis of everything Pixelot.
Sure. So I wanted to play an RPG on my phone, and all the ones out there were terrible. And so I said, all right, I'm tired of just like scrolling through the Google Play Store looking at stuff that I don't want to play, or things that are just pay to win, or just those gotcha style games. So I thought, I really loved, Pokemon and Final Fantasy and games like Fire Emblem. So I thought, what if I just kind of put them all together? My
Mm.
goal was to create a game that was very approachable for every kind of player. But then as you get more into it, it gets more difficult, more challenging, more in depth, and you can really, kind of customize your way through it. I wanted it to be so in Pokemon, you have hundreds and hundreds of different things to choose from for your team. So I wanted to kind of carry that same style in to Pixelot. I didn't want everyone to have the same exact playthrough. Wanted people to kind of create their own character, make their own story. So that's kind of the game plan behind creating the game.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I liked that because I was what was when you watched me play it, was my team like completely different from like your team or any other teams or because I
Yeah, I
had to
mean,
tinker a little bit.
yeah. I mean, I think most people generally start heading towards the better characters towards the end of the game, just
Yeah.
because it kind of flows towards that. But even the end game teams are vastly different, and they make a
mm,
big impact, as you saw, on the different
Yeah.
fights.
It was crazy how I just changed one character out. I was like, well, I just need more like bonuses or healing, and then that just like I was like, oh, I just mopped the floor. Like that was just all I had to do.
Yeah,
I would be going to this was like I have the most powerful squad, and then I just face a boss that just destroys me in like one turn, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna need to do something different. And I'm glad that you came in there and we're kind of like, well, hey, how about you pick this guy? He's got this spell that's gonna do some massive damage and it might change things for you. So I really liked that. Had my own little strategy guide on the side there.
Yeah, I got a lot of feedback that people wanted to be able to change things up pretty. When I first made the game, you kind of had to level each character up individually if they weren't on your team.
Hmm.
They got a lot of feedback, that people wanted to switch things in and out. So that's why I started allowing you to level up the guys in your army without actually having them in your party.
I did like that. That helped a whole lot with. But even if you didn't have, I think if you didn't have them in your main party, they leveled up just a tad slower. If I'm
Right.
correct, because I would swap something out. And I'm like, oh, I was like level 78, and I'm like, oh, they're only level 74. Hopefully, it doesn't like affect anything. But it really didn't, and I thought that was a great idea to put that in there, so I don't have to be like, all right, I gotta go back and grind with a new team.
Right.
When also the cool thing that you implemented is that there wasn't you didn't have like grinding. You were
Right.
kind of grinding for materials. So you would get to like the level. I think the furthest ahead I ever was I was like 5 levels above the like I guess the forced encountered enemies
Right.
that you had. They were kind of like Pokemon trainers where they'd catch you and then you'd say something snarky and then you had to play or play against them. So
Well, I
I
am
like that.
really excited to play this. So, if you don't mind, I am going to start playing, and if you have the stream up, you can see kind of what I'm doing. The first part is the most fascinating to me, actually. So, let me just get into this transition here, and we can get into it. Let's see. Cool. So the first part is super customizable. Like, this is the most customizable that I have seen a game, actually, that looks like this. So when I first came into your game, I'm like, okay, little, like, pixelized characters, cute, that look great. But, oh my gosh, I can choose a paladin, a reaper, a ranger, a sage, an oracle, a ninja. Okay, like, already you can see that this game has so much to offer. So, can you tell us about each of the little classes and why you implemented them and what your favorite is maybe?
Sure. So my favorite's definitely the paladin, and then so all the characters in the game are made after my friends and family. So they're all like real
Nice.
people.
Yeah.
So like Brendan is Kyle's brother in the game. He's actually my brother in real life, and so he always liked the the Reaper kind of character. So that's why I made that class. Paladin's definitely my favorite. I always like to do you're able to kind of take big hits, heal yourself, but also do some good damage. So that's kind of the idea behind the Paladin. The Reaper is kind of, the Dark Knight that heals himself as he does damage. He's got strong ice and dark damage. The Ranger is all about shooting arrows and dealing nature damage and kind of turning, the enemy strength against them. The Sage is kind of the master of all. You can do damage, he can heal. He kind of gets outclassed a little bit later in the game sometimes, but he's kind of your red mage from Final Fantasy.
Nice.
Then the Oracle's kind of just, it's the main healer class. It can do some quick damage if you really need it to, but its main strength is that it's able to heal everybody at once and keep them all pretty close to max health. And then the Ninja is just the wild card. It does a lot of damage. It can reflect attacks. It can make your whole party invisible. It's got a lot of unique skills that kind of make it a different playthrough.
Oh. So
I got a lot of feedback, that people didn't really know what each of the classes did, so I added the screen so you could see
yeah.
some of their sample
Yeah.
attacks and the differences in stats.
Gosh. See,
Yeah, I
this is
think
the
I
part that
picked-
always makes me stop, and it takes me the longest. I'm like, oh my gosh, which one do I do? What did you pick, bro?
Yeah, I was gonna say I picked the Dark Knight, but my before I streamed it, I picked just the Ninja, just to see if it would run and play well on stream. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'll play the Dark Knight instead, because I was just like, that's cool.
That's cool.
I like that.
I like that.
I like anything with like a health steal is really cool. I really like that.
So,
The
do you play
hardest is
Magic the
definitely the
Gathering
Ranger.
then? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the Ranger is definitely the hardest one to play as, because it's the first character you get, so you don't have a healer very often.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Do you play
Yeah,
the black deck in Magic the Gathering then, bro?
I don't play Magic the Gathering.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
Here I am. I'm like, you're a gamer. You play Magic.
I bet you if I did. I
Yeah,
would,
probably.
though.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna choose the Sage just because it sounds like the most balanced, and that feels good to me. So, yeah. So this is the part that it was so cool to me that you could customize this. This is different than like even Pokemon. You know, you were talking about how you started with Pokemon. What made you want to like include this much customization? Was it hard to include this much, and like why?
Well, I wanted people to, kind of have their own adventure. I didn't want it to be, you're kind of forced into playing someone else's story. I wanted you to be able to feel like it was your story too.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a lady.
Then, I got a lot of feedback that people wanted to have different skin tones, so I just put that in.
Yeah. That's awesome.
The thing that cracked me up the most is when you change the hair, and it ever so slightly changes by a few pixels.
Yeah. There's a secret that if you tap on the character, you get a headband.
Oh.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Cool.
Character,
I missed that.
Yeah, there's
All
a couple different hidden things in the game for sure.
Cool.
There you go.
I'm gonna have blue hair, cause I like blue hair. Okay, here we go. There once was a great king who ruled over Pixelot. The kingdom prospered under his kind rule. The king split his kingdom between his 3 sons. Dissonant, the eldest, did I say that right? Forged. Oh no, I missed. Discontent. The eldest killed his brothers and took over their kingdoms. Oh, the Dark Lord brought great peril to all of Pixelot.
What a jerk.
In defiance, heroes gathered 6 elemental crystals. The power of the crystals sealed away the Dark Lord. But the darkness is gaining new strength in Pixelot. N, can you hear me? The world of Pixelot needs you.
It's a super unique story off the bat.
I was gonna say, I'm getting like some like Zelda vibes. Did you ever play Zelda?
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
I played all of them.
What was your favorite?
Ocarina of Time.
Oh, everybody
So
says
good.
that. Nice
And
though.
after that, like, Oracle of Seasons.
It's
That was a good one too.
yeah, that was a really good one. Personally, I liked Wind Waker. Nobody likes Wind Waker, but I love
Wind
it.
Waker was really good.
Yeah, music was great. Speaking of which, tell us about your music in this game.
So it's all free to use from online. I didn't make it myself. I'm not that talented. I wish I was. Yeah, I just found things that I thought kind of fit the different maps and fit the battles and went with it.
I
Wow.
loved the boss music. It was just, I was like, ugh, some of these guitar solos.
They were
Even though
good.
they were free, I was like, this is so good.
So when
And
the
it just
characters talk,
blasted at you too. The music would just change instantly, and you're just like, oh, we're gaming now.
yeah. When the characters talk, it makes a little like mumble sound, so I recorded that one myself.
Did you really? Oh, I'm excited to hear it. Okay.
That's you. I was kind of hoping that was you. You're just up in a microphone going like,
Yep.
because
That was
the sound was so weird. It reminded me of Animal Crossing a little bit, kind of how they talk, ish.
Wow. Okay, my name is Astrum. I called you here to ask for your help. Who's Astrum?
You'll
Spoilers.
find out.
Oh, I'm gonna. I can hear
No
you.
spoilers.
I know, no spoilers. I can hear you doing the ulululu.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny. I was like, what is that?
Oh, please understand that this journey will not be an easy one. In your journey, you will recruit many friends and face many monsters. Before you depart, I should help you get on your feet in this new land. You can move around by using WASD keys or the arrow keys. You can run faster by holding down the space bar. That's an interesting choice. Why did you choose the space bar?
I thought it was the biggest button.
I mean, you thought correctly, because it probably is the biggest button.
Yeah, actually, true.
I forgot to ask you too. Were you ever going to implement like some sort of controller support, or was it going to stay keyboard mouse?
I'm working on it now. So
Okay,
The
awesome.
problem is I got to make the whole game keyboard compatible
Right.
to make it controller compatible. So I finished the menu screen. I'm working through the game screen now.
Okay. Yeah, I did think it might be a little hard with like controller, because I noticed it got a lot easier for me once I finally got the hang of the keyboard mouse. You were able to just do stuff really quickly without kind of having to move over a bunch of times. But you did say that there is a setting in the game that has it to where you can kind of, what'd you call it? Where you just memorize the moves from the prior
Right.
battle? Yeah.
Yeah, I got feedback about that, and so I put that in. It makes the game so much faster. And turn that on.
Okay, cool. I like that
Oh.
you can like tab through things during battle. Okay, okay. Nice. There is a lot of information that you're presenting, but I feel like you're walking us through it like really well so far, which is great. Let's tap the slime to attack him. Oh, it's like...
Right. Yeah.
Oh! Ouch, it looks like he poisoned me. Click on my health bar, I can see my status. Oh, cool. I love all the colors, too. Color coding. Do you, like, color code journals and stuff, like, as you're, like, studying?
I wish I did.
Oh, okay.
I do a lot of web development, so I do a lot of, like, the UI design. So I use a lot of colors.
Nice. Okay. Using an elixir will restore my health and heal my illness. Okay. Tap on myself to use the elixir. Okay. Let's finish this!
I'm losing my mind right now because someone is in one of my Discords and I don't even know which one it is and it keeps beeping. Like so many times and I'm like trying to figure out what it is, so I'm like losing concentration right now. I think it stops. It was like ba-doop, ba-doop, ba-doop for like 10 minutes. I'm like, please stop.
Yes. Cool. Well done, you made that look easy. It looks like he left behind a treasure chest. Okay. You can open the treasure chest by clicking when next to them. All right. A hero hammer. Interesting that you started with the hammer. Is that just for the sage itself, or does everybody get their own unique?
I think a couple of them get the same, but a couple of them are different. So I think a lot of the characters that use swords get a sword, but I think the Reaper gets an axe, and I think the Sage gets a hammer.
Nice. It's dangerous to go without a weapon. Is that a reference to it's dangerous to go alone, take this?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
Got it.
That, yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Little nod to Legend of Zelda.
There's a lot of those
right?
references.
Yeah. Speaking of references, and when we get to that point, because I need to know where you came up with all these dad jokes.
Oh, I mean, that was awesome to me.
I talked about it in the podcast, and it was just like almost, I think it was every single enemy that you run into.
Yep.
It was like every single one. I was like, dude, this guy's crazy. I
get a lot of eye rolls from my wife.
Yeah, I think there's a few people in my chat. It was just like groan some of these jokes, but I loved them. It was hilarious because I love just terrible jokes like that. Yeah, exactly. I was also gonna say, so through the whole like just making the game and figuring everything out, what was like the most, I guess, difficult hurdle to like get past?
I mean, I think there's
Off
so
the top
much.
of your head.
Yeah, there's so much to an RPG that like you don't think about, like EXP curves and managing and balancing like damage versus like the different stats. Like there's a lot of like intense math that goes into it that you just kind of take for granted. Like if you ever look up the damage formula for Pokemon, like you'll be, or the catch formula, like it's crazy.
Right.
And so it's just trying to figure out all of those different crazy formulas that you got to put in there.
Yeah, because I know like the way the games do something, it's like exponentially increased. Like, you know, I think it's like the amount of XP from 1 to 2 is only like, let's say 10 for, you know, sake of an argument, and then the XP from like 99 to 100 is 10 million or 10 billion.
Yeah, so what I did was at every 10 levels, the amount of XP you need jumps by a lot.
Okay.
And it kind of like balances out the whole leveling process. And so that's why your characters are only like a little bit behind.
Okay, yeah. I noticed, I really liked that I was only like 1 or 2 levels behind. And I did like every battle, and I did most of the side quests, and when I did do all the side quests, that's what I was saying earlier, I was 5 levels ahead, but then it evened itself out once I stopped doing like, because I was like, I want to beat this game. I don't want to do all these side quests. But
yeah.
I mostly do all the side quests, but I was like, I'm trying to beat this. I've played it for almost like 4 or 5 days now.
I noticed too, props too, when you equip a weapon, your stats change. I have not seen that usually in RPGs. That's makes a lot of sense, right? Because I'm far more effective if I'm holding a sword than I am not holding a sword.
Pixelated numbers make me happy when they go up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my favorite thing we were talking about, because later on in the game, like you get a weapon and then I'm like, ooh, I can upgrade this up to max, and then you'll get another weapon. You're like, it's already better than the other. Like, all right, you swap it out, and then you're like, got to keep upgrading it. I love it so much.
So I see you have like a Pokedex type of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. So you can see all the different ones that you've defeated. So this one
What
is
are they
Earth.
Bestiary,
More bad jokes with this thing,
Bestiary.
too.
Oh, you said jokes with this one?
Yeah, and the bottom there's like different. So he's living in this limelight, like the limelight. Yeah, they all have their own bad jokes that are associated with it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Can you
I'm
tell us?
gonna go back and look at all those now, because
I
I should have
know.
most of the monsters.
Can you tell us about the different regions? So it looks like there's Miria.
Yep. So Miria is kind of the first third of the game, and then it's kind of your typical. You're in the forest. You go to the Magic City. It's kind of your standard kind of RPG kind of land. Worm is the Island of Dragons. So you fight a bunch of dragon monsters. You go through a volcano, kind of like a beachy feel. And Vanguard is all in the snow. It's kind of like the Paladin Reaper land. And then Hyperion.
Gotta have an ice
is-
level.
Yeah, there's a lot of ice levels. Hyperion is like the desert. It's like a war capital.
Nice.
So it's all about exploring the desert.
Yeah, because that's the one that's the Civil War, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of story that goes into this, which is also baffling to me. That you did this all by yourself. It's so crazy to me. I can't believe it.
It was. I think it ended up being like 250,000 lines of code or something.
Whoa.
Woo!
That's so
Well,
much.
I had heard before that you were already a software developer, correct?
Right.
So you had a little bit of knowledge, or at least a lot of knowledge behind it. Was
Yeah.
the coding more difficult than actually making the game look? I guess I don't know, like doing the coding compared to like coming up with ideas for the game.
I mean, I think both of those areas weren't that hard. I think a lot of it was trying to figure out how to draw things.
Okay.
Because I'm not
And
an
you
artist.
drew all the you
Right. So I drew it all.
drew all the like pixels and everything. Okay. What was the what do they call it? What was the software that you used to make the game?
So the framework is called libgdx. It's not very
Okay.
well heard of, but it's the framework.
I was like,
that-
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. It's the framework I first found when I made my first game, Toast, which is just like a basic side-scrolling jumping game, kind of like Flappy Bird or like the dinosaur game when
Oh,
you run on the
okay.
internet. It's like that.
Are you you're like a piece of toast and you're getting like butter and jam or something?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
You jump over other pieces of food.
Okay, there you go.
So that's what I used for that, and then I was using this, and then I heard about Unity when I was already like 3 years in. So it's like,
yeah,
I'm
that was-
now. Yeah.
What you used, was it at least user friendly or like easy to use, or did it take you a while to kind of like master it?
So the thing about libgdx is it doesn't do anything for you. It essentially, you
Okay.
have a screen and you draw everything to the screen. What it does for you is it ports it to Android, iOS, and computer. So it's pretty much everything's done by hand. So all these menus are all drawn. I draw like a rectangle and then I draw another rectangle. So that's how it all works. Versus like in Unity, you
Okay.
load up all the different assets for the menus and interact with them. It kind of holds your hand a little bit, but there's trade-offs either way. When you have to do it
Yeah.
all yourself, you get a lot more customization.
Right. Which
That's a
I
lot
think
more
that
work.
was like, a blessing for you to, have a little bit more creative control with doing everything, because I mean, this is for it not sounding like a unique game, you know what I mean? It is a really unique game. So I really enjoyed it, and that's why it was pretty good to have all that stuff there. I was going to talk about, how many times did you like change the game during development?
What do you
Like,
mean?
like how many times did you go through, like you did one thing and then you kind of looked back at it and you're like, I'm gonna fix this or make it different?
Oh, all the time. I mean, especially the art. I redid the art tons and tons of times, and then I ended up in all the different formulas for XP and damage, and all of that just changed over and over and over again. And every time I put out an update, I figured out how to make it so when I make the update, I just reset everyone's characters to what they should be. So like there was a big
Okay.
bug that characters you didn't use were endlessly being promoted. So they'd have like 9,000 stats. So
There
in
you
the
go.
next update, reset them to the stats they should have. So
Yeah.
there was a bunch of different fixes I had to do for that.
Well, I mean, you got to make it perfect, right? It's your game.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of developing this? If you could choose a favorite part.
I think coming up with the story and kind of seeing it all come to life. Because I had dreamed about this for so long, was kind of thinking about ideas in my head. Over the 5 years it took me to make it. It was cool to like see it actually come to fruition this last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you released on March 31st, I think, right?
For Steam, yeah. So I initially released the first third of the game on Android and iOS in I think 2018,
Okay.
maybe 2019. And then the next year, I released the second third, and then this year, when I released the Steam, I released the rest of the game for the Android and iOS versions.
Wow, very cool. Very cool. And he might have asked before, but are you looking to expand to other consoles?
I mean, I would love to put it on Switch, but it's kind of hard to get Nintendo to look at you until you get enough attention.
Yeah.
Do you know the number?
Reasonably going to get that.
You know, like,
but
Do you know the number for like downloads or like revenue for them to send you like a Switch dev kit?
I assume it's a couple thousand downloads. on
Okay.
Steam.
Do you know the number that you're at now, if you don't mind me asking?
I do. It's not anywhere close.
Well, I love it, and I think everyone else should buy it on either Android or Steam. What's it? It's like what, $3 on Steam, and then I think it's 15 on.
It's 15 on Steam,
or,
yeah. and it's
sorry,
like
$3 on Android, 15 on Steam.
And so people always ask
Yeah.
me, why did you make the prices so different? And so there's a lot of like theology that goes behind that, and
Yeah.
no one will buy a $3 game on Steam. They'll just say no, this game's crap. And so you can't really price it for much lower, but you can't make a game on the phone more than $3 because they're saying no way, I'm gonna pay $15 for a phone game.
Like
And that-
$15 for a phone game?
Yeah,
See, he
who
calls
does
it a phone game too.
yeah,
A phone game,
We're-
yes.
We had a podcast earlier, and we were talking about mobile games is what the correct way that they were explaining to me, and I was like, no, it's a phone game.
it's a phone game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because I think for any creative, right? When you go to actually put your creation out into the world, it's like, how do I price this? Like, how do I place worth on this? What was kind of, I mean, you don't have to go into super, a lot of depth into it, but like, what was your process with that? Like, what did you go through a lot, or did you just like, this is the number, I know it?
No, I went back and forth a lot, and so I looked at similar games that were on the Steam store, with similar content, similar genre, different things like that, and so that's kind of where I made my decision. I looked at other indie developers. I didn't want to shortchange myself because this game does have over 20 hours of content, and there's a lot to do. There's a lot of customization, so it's not really. I don't want people to think it's less than it is.
Right.
That was kind of my thought process behind it.
Yeah, and there's definitely a psychology, like, whenever you're buying anything, if you see that it's a certain price and you're like, well, it must be worth that, so it's not worth it.
Right.
Yeah, I have learned that over and over just in my experience with business. It's just like something is worth whatever value you place on it. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, so far I can see there's a lot of substance to this game, a lot of replay value. I mean, if you play through as one character, you have a bunch of others that you can experience different things with. And is this multiplayer? Will it be multiplayer?
I wish I was cool enough to make it multiplayer. I'd have to start buying servers and figure out how to do all of that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have
That would be
progress
cool.
on the team.
Like,
it would be super cool.
Like, because later on in the game, you get to do an arena area. It'd be cool to kind of do like a little PvP and see which the people would be making meta teams and like which
Yep.
team would be best against like certain other players. So I think that would be really cool. But
It would be really cool. I've definitely thought about it.
So it's asking me if I will take care of all of the wolves once and for all.
Yeah, you can hit no, and then he'll just keep asking you.
He just keeps okay, I was like,
Yeah,
is this
hit
like
no,
a
that's
split?
good.
Because You're gonna laugh.
Freaking
I
Garrett,
don't.
freaking Garrett, that guy, so full of himself.
Freaking Garrett with 2 R's. What?
2 R's and 2 T's.
2 R's and 2
Yeah.
T's.
That's
Yes.
how he spells it in real life.
Do your friends know that you have like done this, and what has been their reactions?
Oh, they love it for sure.
Yeah.
They're super excited about it.
Yeah,
Yep.
Garrett's a total bro. I love
He
that.
totally is in real life.
It was cracking me up every time he's talking to any of the bad guys. He's like, bro, no. Every
I'll
time.
hit you in the face.
Yeah. Hillary, I knew I could count on you, bro, right there.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I like it because I feel like the dialogue is a little more like, I guess, realistic, modern, instead of
Right.
it being like, just. I think we talked to Henry about kind of like dialogue in certain games, and it was just like, hey, I'm coming with you. And they're like, okay, I'm coming with you too. And then it's like, Loop has joined the party. This one's a little more personable, I suppose, because you use kind of your friends' personality. Well, I didn't say like used, but
Right.
use
Modeled
friends'
it after.
personalities to kind of build a more personable relationship with the player with the dialogue. I was also gonna ask. I was curious because I haven't been reached out too much by developers to like play their games. Usually they'll reach out to Puppet or the Game Raven channel. So I was curious how you ended up finding me to play your game for you.
So I went on Twitch and I searched for people playing, Valheim, Genshin Impact, kind of any RPG that was kind of similar.
Okay.
And I went through the lists and I followed them. I checked their Twitter. I messaged them on that. I emailed them. I'm trying to hit people in any way that I possibly can.
Yeah, networking is super important. I'm glad that I was picked out of that random madness that you had to go through to find some
Yep.
people. Yeah, because I usually will look up every now and then on Twitch, and I'm like, oh, who's playing Pixelot? And I'll see sometimes, you got like 15 people are playing that game, which is really cool. So I love that. I love to see exactly. I think that would probably be one of the coolest things, like being a developer and seeing people's reactions, like to playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
was-
learn a lot. Yeah.
I had so much fun. It was such a blast playing that game. It was great. I need to do a little bit more of the post game though.
Yeah.
Maybe on my own time, because I know that I want to get. There's all the. Do you do the achievements on Steam? Like, do you set
you can
those
get them
up?
on Steam, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was like, oh, we're level 70. I'm like, ooh, only like 3% of people have that. And then it was like, I think I waited a couple days and then I played again. And then I was like, oh, it's not 6%. And I was like, I got to 80, and then I was back at it again. And then I was like, that was where I really hit a brick wall of like getting experience. I think
It's really
about
hard to get to 100.
75, 80. Yeah, that's what I was like. I don't know how much longer it's going to take for me to get to 100 of grinding. Maybe you can lend me some secrets of where I can go to
You gotta
get.
go to the Dark Tower. The Dark Tower is an infinite.
Oh, okay.
one. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, that's the one that I haven't done that one yet, and I think that's also a smaller, like a 2.5% completion of the Dark
Mhm.
Tower. So yeah, I was looking at the achievements. I was like, all right, what do I gotta do? I think I have like 6 left, and it's like get to 90, get to 100, complete the Dark Tower, and then like some certain side quests, I think, were part of the achievement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just those few, and then I should have it 100%ed. But obviously, even if you 100% the game with all the achievements, you probably wouldn't be able to, because there's so many, like you said before, mixing and matching parties,
Right.
party members, which it was kind of scary at first to like stray away from like what I talked about earlier. I'm like, this is the team. This is the team for the game. And then you
Yeah.
hit a boss, and you're like, okay, this is not the team for the game. And then it just makes me want to start. Maybe it would be harder, or if there was a way that I can like go through the game and beat it without having such, overpowered characters. But I think the way that you have it set up, you really need to focus on like the elements and making sure that people have power-ups, because some people are like way more glass cannon
Right.
or squishy than other characters are that take damage. And so I think maybe for end game, there's probably a set meta for it, but I'm sure you could definitely go through the beginning of the game with almost any character and like mix and match and see what you like best, what spells synergize with other spells.
Right.
Which I don't know if you came in at the very end, but I figured out the greatest
You had it
synergy.
set up. That's the way
Yeah,
I did
dude,
it.
it was nuts. I was like, okay, So if I do this and I get like 20%, and that'll be affected on my next turn, and then she does the one where everyone gets another 50%, and then if you use this move, everyone gets 50%. But then if I used it, I think I named my Dark Knight Crowley, and then if I used it again where I used this one move and it does like 40% extra damage plus 20% extra. I was like,
Right.
I was hitting 10,000, and that was the greatest numbers to see come up. I was just like, ooh, we hit 10,000. That should be an achievement, I think. I don't know if you had one where it was like
It's a damage achievement, but
yeah,
it's only 1,000. It's pretty easy to get, yeah.
You should definitely add that 10,000. Give me that extra trophy in there.
Yeah.
Because when that number hit, I was like, oh, we're so close. I was like, are we gonna be able to hit 10,000? And lo and behold, also, I'm really happy that you didn't add like most Final Fantasy games where you need a limit breaker. You know how the damage stops at 9999.
Right.
This one, you actually don't have to worry about that. Where you
It stops at their max health.
Yeah, you need. It'll do the maximum amount of health. Okay.
Yep. It'll never go over that.
Okay. So then I wonder, if you ever did like bosses, it would be a massive, like hundreds of thousands. But I don't think you could ever hit 100,000. Could you? I don't know. You're the man. I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to tinker a little bit with that then.
Oh yeah, this boss music is awesome.
Right? Isn't it? It hits.
It hits you.
It's so great. Yeah, I love this ranger tower, especially for somebody like me who sometimes, I will admit, I will go through tutorials and like skip past stuff, and I'm like, oh shoot, wait, how do I do this? So then you can go to the ranger tower and it takes you step by step. Like, that's great. I also noticed too, with upgrading your weapons and things, like not only do you need money for it, you also need your materials. So like there's a gathering aspect too, and I love the gathering aspect. What made you want to implement that rather than just like, buying weapons?
Well, I feel like most games, buying weapons, it's kind of straightforward. I think this adds a lot more customization. You choose which items you want to upgrade. You can't upgrade them all through your. I mean, you could. You'd spend extra time to do it, but if you just play through the game, you're only going to get so much of each of the materials. Yes. You kind of decide, which ones do I really like the most, and it's really worth me upgrading. It adds like a new level to customization and kind of that RPG feel that people really look for when they play these games.
I noticed that towards the end game, there was some materials where I was like, oh, I only have like 8 of these. All right, I guess I'll max out like, my main guy. I always kept my. Oh, also, quick question before I get into that. If I swapped out my starter class, would that have an effect on anything?
Yeah, I mean, you still walk around as the same character.
You'll still walk around as your starter, but you won't be in the battle. Okay. Because I did notice that when you get to a cutscene, it would be like your whole, and I won't spoil, it'll be the whole, everybody talking, or at least the like main focus points of those specific characters during that story. Right. So I really liked that. But I'd be like, every time I was like, man, imagine if I had, my whole 30 squad in this battle, it'd be super easy. But yeah, I loved it. There's the story, I mean, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Super simple. It's done well, and I didn't really have any complaints about the story.
It is available now, and there's tons of content here. For sure, so very much worth the $15, and it's also a mobile game, which is cool. I always find that awesome because then you have, for people who want to be more on the go or don't maybe have a PC that they can use, they can also access it.
It is the exact same game, right?
It's the exact same game.
More or less, or like?
It's the exact same game.
Exact same. Okay.
Yep,
yeah.
100%.
100%.
Play it on the go. Play it in your chair. Play it on your go in your chair. Whatever you want to do. Is there
the nice
for you.
thing about it is that it auto saves for you, and the battles aren't too long, so it's pretty easy. You're on the train, you're going to the bathroom, whatever you're doing, you got 10 minutes to play. You can just pick it up, do a couple battles, get a little further, pick it up later.
Yeah, I like that it's super user friendly. You'll always know what you're doing because there's a quest booklet. I like that it's not too easy with like arrows pointing, on there, like attack this guy. I like the non-arrows. I like being able to hit the quest button and be like, okay, I need to go here, instead of like it basically guiding me, holding my hand through the game. Got a little bit of freedom there, and especially when you get to the arena and then the post game, which I'm excited to do the post game because I just like big numbers going up and I like doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And that's like I was sold on that, so I'm super excited to do some post game action.
So
yeah, what you just made it to the second town, it looks like.
I did. So I thought before we finish up our interview, if you want to tell us anything else about this game, if you want to leave us with anything.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for playing it. Like, it's such a dream come true to see people play it and like hear what people think about it. And I feel like just like my daughter, this is like another one of my babies. I've been working on this for 5 years. It's been like a huge dream and passion. And whenever I reach out to people to ask them to play it, I always tell them like it would mean the world to me, and like it really does. Like, I feel like all this work, I just really appreciate like people taking the time to like look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it's definitely worth looking at for sure. Yeah. So again, everyone, it is on Steam and also on Android and iOS. And you are free to check it out. Wishlist, if you aren't sure quite yet. Follow it.
Iceberger3 on Twitter for all his updates.
Yes.
Super important. He's very active within the community, so super cool guy. I got one last question before you go, though, Kyle.
Sure.
Are you planning on making a sequel, or are you planning on making a different game?
So my thought process was next, I'm probably going to try and make... I've been going back and forth about what I'm going to make next, but I think it's going to be kind of like a tactical RPG.
Like Fire Emblem Tactics or something? Okay.
Kind of like a mix between that and like controlling a raid group in WoW.
Okay. That'd be pretty neat. I guess one final food for thought. I know I said that was my final question, but if you could start over the game, would you do it? Like, would you do it again? Differently?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was a blast.
Nice.
Awesome.
I mean, it was so much fun making this.
Sweet. Yeah. We had fun playing it. I'm sure Puppet's going to be really excited when she gets to kind of the more, a little bit more, I guess, harder part of the game and kind of use her brain a little bit. Because I know I had to.
Oh, no. Using my brain.
Bad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The dad jokes, dad jokes 10 out of 10.
The skeleton ones are my favorite, for sure.
Yeah. The ghost ones, the skeleton ones, also like the ice mages, they're great.
I love it.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thank you so much, Kyle. And do you want to just plug all your socials and everything before we go?
Sure. They're all Iceberger3. So if you search on Instagram, Iceberger3. If you search on Twitter, Iceberger3.
Cool.
The website is pixelotgame.wordpress.com. It's pretty straightforward. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Twitter for sure.
Nice. Cool.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can have
you
you on
for
here.
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am PuppetMasterEN, and you can find me on, like he said, all the socials as PuppetMasterEN. We like to keep it consistent. And up here is Brotuzak.
Yes, I'm Brotuzak, and you can find me on any virtual platform as Brotuzak. That's Brotuzak. And, we'll be gaming.
Thanks again, Kyle, and thank you all for joining us. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys.